청사
The woman writer Hwang Jini in the 16th century. Hwang Jini was a kiseng, which is something like the Korean equivalent for the geisha, a woman who was expert in writing, singing, entertaining conversation, and occasionally liaisons with various men. This did happen from time to time with the kiseng. This particular kiseng, Hwang Jini, is so famous that she's had some television dramas made about her recently, which have been great fun to see. And there was one, what was it, 2 years ago, KBS TV did it. And one of the things that was very interesting was that all the way through the TV drama, Hwang Jini would be composing a Sijo, and it would be a Sijo that everybody was familiar with because she's a very famous Sijo composer. But she would never speak it. You didn't have the long, drawn-out spoken presentation of the Sijo. She'd be writing it somewhere or just thinking it in her mind, and it would go by rather quickly. I thought that was kind of interesting. And then there's a TV drama sort of satire of the story of Chyung, who was the daughter of a kiseng, a very famous story in Korea. But these old stories and these women in them, who were very strong figures in the poems and the stories about them traditionally, are getting a lot of attention now in the popular media because they seem to, I think, reflect something about the changing situation of women in Korea in the business and other ways. In any event, this very famous Sijo poem, let me spend a little bit of time with it and you. I'll read the English translation first. Jade Green stream, don't boast so proud of your easy passing through these blue hills. Once you have reached the broad sea, to return again will be hard. While the bright moon fills these empty hills, why not pause, then go on, if you will. And you can see there the 3 lines, each line broken at the halfway point, and so arranged as 6 down the page. And I think that helps if you're writing the Sijo. And you can see that the first line introduces the story. Jade Green stream, don't boast so proud of your easy passing through these blue hills. And then the second line kind of develops it, carries it a little farther. Once you've reached the broad sea, to return again will be hard. And then the third line, you get the twist. And the twist is the bright moon. While the bright moon fills these empty hills, why not pause, then go on, if you will. You can look at the poem as just being about nature. The stream slipping past so quickly will soon disappear into the sea. So, stream, wait, and then go on. It's kind of, just a natural, beautiful scene on the one hand, but you could push it a little bit and say that it suggests something about a sense of human life, that in our busy interactions and everything else, we may rush on by we may rush on by, but eventually we're all going to disappear into that broad sea. So, before that happens, pause. Pay attention to what's around you, and then carry on with the rest of it. So the poem, I think, can be read as kind of a description of nature. It can be read as something of a sort of philosophical observation about human life and its meaning and the rest of that. It also has a wonderful kind of, what should I say, direct and personal, expressive element in it. In this sense, Jade Green stream in the original language is in Chinese characters, and I'll explain a little bit more about them. Beok su is Jade Green stream, Beok su. But with different Chinese characters, the same sounds, Beok su, that's the name of somebody's office in the government. That's the title of the officer in the government. He is the Beok su. We don't know if it's Mr. Kim, we don't know if it's Mr. Lee, but he's the Beok su. So this term, Beok su, could mean either Jade Green stream, or with different Chinese characters, it could mean a government official. And then the bright moon, in that third line, Myungwol is bright moon, the first two characters there at the beginning of the third line. Bright moon was sort of the pen name, the sobriquet of Hwang Jini. That's Hwang Jini right there. And the story associated with this Sijo is that the officer, the Beok su, was a very upright Confucian official indeed. And he had heard about this lovely and talented Hwang Jini, the Kiseng, and said to anybody who would listen that he was impervious to her charms. He would pay no attention to her. And he was crossing a stream on his mule, going somewhere in the direction nearby, but not to visit her at all, when this song came to his ear as somebody sang it. And the song is, "Oh, Mr. Government official, don't be so proud of passing by so quickly, because once you're gone, you are gone. Since I, the bright moon, am here, why not pause and then go on, if you will." And he was so taken by it that it said he fell right off his mule into the water. And it's sort of a funny story. What I think is most striking about it, and is something that you can find in the Korean Sijo that I don't think you can find elsewhere in language used in a poetic form, is the interplay between the Chinese language in the first half of each line and the pure, beautiful Korean vernacular in the second half of each line. And it's almost as if the Sijo says, okay, you've got the Chinese-based Confucian hierarchical order of society right there, and then you've got, on the other hand, the Korean vernacular interrogating it, challenging it, saying you're not all that you might think you are. And just reading across here, you'll see that there are Chinese characters that begin in each line, and then those are Korean words in the second half. And Cheong, Sa, Li, the first three, mean green mountains among. And then Beok su, that's the Jade Green stream. And then the Korean word Ya, which is sort of hey. So hey, Jade Green stream in the blue or green mountains. And then the second half of that first line, Sui kamul, which is easy going. Jarang mara, don't be so proud. And it's very wonderfully direct Korean. Imagine saying to somebody, "Sui kamul jarang mara." It's just the way you would say it. Whereas the first half of the line is very elaborate, very carefully phrased. So you get this wonderful interplay between the two, and the voice in the Korean language challenging that initial Chinese language-based statement. Then the second line, you all can see the il, right, the one, the Chinese character for one. We all know what that is, because just tip it 90 degrees and you've got one. Il to, once reach. And then the next two characters, chang he, the broad sea. So il to, chang he, and then the Korean language verb hamyan, if that happens. So if you reach the broad sea, 다시 오기, 어려오니. 다시 is again, 오기 is to come, 어려오니 would be difficult. So again, it's kind of witty Korean vernacular expression. 일도 장해하면, if you do that thing, 일도 장해, 다시 오기 어려우니. Very kind of witty. And then the third line, 명월, bright moon. And then the Korean marker of the subject of the sentence, 명월이 만공산 하니, fill the empty hills, since it does. 하니 is the verb. So since the bright moon fills the empty hills. 쉬어간들, rest and go. 어떠리, how would that be? So while the bright moon fills these empty hills, why not pause and then go on? So you can see worked out in this Sijo poem extraordinarily carefully this balance between the Chinese-based hierarchical aspect, the side of Korean society on the one hand, and the vernacular and more egalitarian woman's view of that society on the other. And then just one last thing to note here. In the first line it says sui kamul, easy going. And then in the third line it says 쉬어 간들, rest and then go. And what is remarkable to me about that is that those are two slightly different grammatical forms of exactly the same verb in Korean. Sui kamul, easy going, 쉬어 간들, rest and go. And you just change the grammatical markers a little bit, and you completely reverse the meaning of it. One, easily going past, the other is take your ease and then go. And it's something that you can do in the Korean language that I don't think you can quite do so easily in English.